All right, guys, welcome back to the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast, episode 314. Today, we've got a guest on, Guy.
Yes.
And we've just wrapped up the podcast with said guest. Honestly, you are in for one of the most incredible podcasts I think we've ever recorded. It's with the legend himself, Billy Foster, who has caddied for over 40 years for some of the best players that have ever played the game of golf.
I listened to the name of players that he has caddied for, and it's absolutely incredible. But not only that, the anecdotes, the stories, the funny little stories that he told us. What a guy, what a story. I honestly can't wait for people to get in the car today, drive to work, drive to the gym, wherever you're going to, put this podcast on and just consume it.
Names like, let's just slam a few names down here on the table. You ready? Seve Bust-Up. Done.
Tell you what, I'll raise your Seve Bust-Up. That's a very hard raise to make, admittedly, but I'll raise your Seve with a little Tiger Woods.
Come on. He has also caddied for Darren Clarke, Lee Westwood, Matt Fitzpatrick, which he won at the 2022 US Open with.
The iconic shot.
Sergio Garcia, the iconic shot in the bunker. We kicked off this podcast asking him about that exact shot. Sergio Garcia, Thomas Bjorn, Colin Morikawa more recently, in fact. He caddied for Colin Morikawa at the Scottish Open, the Open this year. He's also rekindled a flame with Lee Westwood on the last few events of the Live Golf season, where I got to meet Billy a bit more personally, which was great. But honestly, some of his stories, some of his impressions,
just words.
Just a warning, I was going to say, a bit like the Rachel Drummond episode, which, by the way, thanks so much that you love that episode. There are a few curse words in this episode, but it was all context. It was none of it was vulgar.
No, you know what? There's a few things in this podcast that I think really stuck out to me. I won't give it away too much, but first it was a Darren Clarke story. That was very heartwarming. That was very kind of deep, but that was an interesting one. There was a story obviously around caddying for Tiger Woods at the President's Cup. That was incredible. But probably the biggest takeaway for me that I didn't realise is how much caddying has changed in the last 20, 30 years. That what caddies used to do compared to what they do today is two very different jobs.
Caddies have got it easy now.
Yes.
Easy, and they earn millions. No. All being said, this is a fantastic episode with, honestly, a true caddy legend. Like, he is. We asked him about who would be on his Mount Rushmore of caddies, and he didn't put his name on it, humbly. He would be on most caddies' Mount Rushmore of caddies. Without further ado, sit back and enjoy this incredible episode with the legend himself, Billy Foster. So, Billy, I'm on the 18th hole. I'm about to win the biggest tournament of my life. I'm in a bunker, 156 yards away.
157.
Slightly uphill. You then passed Matt Fitzpatrick that 9-iron, and he hit an unbelievable golf shot. Is that almost one of the most nervous moments of your career, exciting moments of your career? Kind of take us back to that 18th hole at Brookline in 2022.
It's quite a funny story, really, because on the Monday, I'm walking the golf course, I'm drawing my book or whatever, making my notes, and I got to the 18th, and I thought, at 270, 280 yards, the fairway was probably 28, 30 yards wide. But when you went past that, the bunkers came in, the rough came in, so about 300 yards, it was probably 18 to 20 yards wide. So I've made my notes. I've put tee shot to 270 to 280. And as I'm doing it, Justin Rose walks past. He says, "What are you seeing here, Billy?" I said, "I like it here. 270 to 280 off the tee, widest bit of the fairway. It's only 150, 160 yards. Yeah, I like that, Billy. I'm like, that'll do for me." So we went out to play a practice round later. We get to the last hole and Fitz pulls the driver out. And I said, "I like 3-wood up here, Matt." And he said, "No, I know what you're saying, but no, I like driver up here." So I didn't argue too much. He hit driver straight through the fairway in the right-hand thick rough. Had to chop it out, chipped it on, made a bogey. So I've never done this before. I said, "Fitz," I said, "let's go back to the 18th tee. It's 6 shots, hit 3 3-woods and 3 drivers, then see what you think." So I was thinking it'll prove my theory right, you know. But you spread them around a little bit, so no real
conclusion
to it. So I said, what do you fancy now? He says, no, I know what you're saying, but no, driver's straightest club, but I like driver up here. I want to attack it. I went, all right. I said, so come Thursday, when you've ate there and it's good enough, I don't want any hindsight. I said, no, what we're doing here, we should be back there. He said, no, I'll accept it. I want to hit driver. I said, all right, well, I like 3-wood, but you're happy with driver.
Yeah,
I want to hit driver. You know, obviously I'm like the navigator. He's a rally driver. I'm the navigator, like, so he's got the wheel. He's going to do what he wants. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, first 3 rounds, it goes bogey, par, bogey with driver.
Okay.
So I'm walking to the 18th tee on Sunday thinking, I've seen this odd movie too many times.
And he had a one-shot, was it a
one-shot lead?
Going
one-shot lead going down the last, so it's sort of like going like that for the driver. I said, Fitz, it's a 3-wood. Widest bit of the fairway. It's a 3-wood and a 9-9, that's all it is. Okay, so it's a 3-wood. He pull-ups it left in the bunker. I'm like, you're just a jinx. Why don't you keep your mouth shut, you I was spewing. Anyway, after about 30 yards off the tee, Fitz stops and turns round. I thought, here we go. It's going to start mourning. He said, Billy. He said, that was the right club. I went, all right, thanks, mate. Because I know if it had been Thomas Bjorn or Darren Clarke or Sergio Garcia, there'd have been a mound that year after a little crucifix in the top of it saying, Billy, we're buried here, like, you know. Anyway, I get up there. I've seen the ball in the bunker and it's under the lip. I want it to be sick. I thought, oh, no, this is a chop out. And Zalatoris is in perfect position. But then when I got there, I've done something else I'd never done before. So I plumb bobbed a 5-iron up over the ball and like a foot left of the bank. And I saw a floodlight at the back left of the green and said, Fitz, if you hit on that floodlight, that bank's not in play, so you can hit as hard as you want on that floodlight and just try and cut it, like, you know, and give him the yards. It was a perfect number for a 9-9. Yeah, okay, mate, I like that, 9-9. And as I walk away, I turn round and he's already hit it. And you just know he's flushed it. And the worst bit about Fitz's play that season was his fairway bunker play. He hit him fat all the time.
Honestly.
But because he had to cut it, the heel was up.
Yeah.
And he flushed it, and as it's in the arm, going, oh, you beautiful thing, like, oh my God, how good is that? And it just kept cutting in. And it's like 18 feet, and it was the shot of the season, there's no doubt about it.
Was the ball slightly above his feet as well on the picture I'm looking at now? It was a little bit above his feet slightly also, which would have made the cut even harder, I guess.
Yeah, I can't remember it being above his feet, but if you've got a picture there saying it is, well,
just slightly. You see it there?
Yeah, it does a little bit.
Right, well, yeah, it would make it obviously a little bit hard if it was. Wow. But I didn't see that at the time, but it was the shot of the season.
How do you in that moment, and you've had many, many moments like this, how do you in that moment, you're trying to keep the player calm. This is...
Listen, Fitz was in a great place. You can see it. You can read body language. You can read facial expressions. And he was in the zone. As soon as he hit that shot on 15, he blocked it off the tee and got away with it. And he had a great... Was it a 5-iron, I think? Yeah, he hit to like 20 feet and hold it for birdie. I could tell he was absolutely in the zone. I didn't have to whip him like a jockey, you know. Like, he was in a great place. I didn't have to wrestle too hard with it at all.
Was that a huge relief for you?
There was no enjoyment whatsoever.
It was in like winning the major tournament with a player, because up until that point you hadn't managed to get across the line.
Of course, yeah.
Did that feel like a huge relief as someone who's caddied for 40 years for some of the best players in the world? Did that feel like I can now rest easy that I have now won? I am a major winning caddy.
Yeah, there was no sort of like excitement, enjoyment, punching the how good's that, absolutely brilliant. It was literally, thank God for that. Because I looked at it thinking, I might stop caddying at 60. There's probably 12 majors left. You're never going to win one, are you? No, you're not. And then Fitz, of all people, I mean, it was incredible, and it was a moment of, as soon as Zalatoris' stayed up, and you realised you finally won a major with somebody. It's such a surreal experience of no excitement. It's just like utter relief. And I had these visions of Thomas Bjorn in that bunker at Sandwich just floating into the sky, and Westy 3-putt in the last at Turnberry floating into the sky. I thought, thank God for that. Yeah, it was just utter relief. Yeah.
Going back to how, obviously, I feel like we've come in hot and coming straight on the major victory with Max. I think it's such an incredible story, and like I think that's such one of the most iconic second shots into a 70-second hole. You talk about all the incredible ones that Tiger has done, this, that, and the other, and even like the Ryder Cup. Who was the player that on the 18th who
Russell
hit
Henley? Was it similar?
Russell Henley. Like, you look at it like, oh my God, he's got to do what Matt Fitzpatrick did.
It's become an iconic golf shot, isn't it?
It was a real iconic, and you had you probably weren't watching it at the time because you were walking away, but you had front row seat to that shot, and you've had a front row seat for 40 years to some of the most incredible golf the world has ever witnessed. Tell us about this journey. Like, going back to, you started caddying, was it in the 80s?
Listen, there was a golf tournament at Bingley St Ives, my home golf club, in the early 80s, 1981, 82, 83. So we were a 15-year-old kid, junior. There was no caddies in them days because they were all tramps. There was no money in the game. So you'd rock up and caddy and they give you a dozen balls for the week. That was it.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
and you were a kid at this age?
I was 15,
yeah.
16. I was 15 the first tournament. And I worked for Mats Lanner from Sweden.
Okay.
That was my first ever job. And I was working with my dad, apprentice joiner, 20 quid a week, getting sacked 3 times a week. And, we started travelling around, going to a few different tournaments.
And it sounds, were you playing golf at this point, weren't you?
Yeah, I was playing golf, yeah.
Yeah.
Played golf from 9 years old.
Okay.
That was half decent, but nothing spectacular. So we started following a few tournaments around Britain. We went to the car care plan was at Moortown. Benson Hedges was at Fulford in York. Expanded to a couple in London. Then a mate of mine said, let's go to Spain on a 6 weeks holiday and caddy down there. So which we did. And ended up caddying for Tony Johnston from Zimbabwe. He finished 7th in the Portuguese Open.
Yeah.
Now, if you finish 7th in the PGA tournament now,
you're doing all right.
You probably get $400,000 you play. He won £1,000 and I got 5%, 50 quid.
Okay.
And you're paying your own way to Portugal and sleeping in bushes and tents and drawing your own yardage book, no range balls. It was so different.
So you weren't exactly breaking even, were you?
You couldn't make a bean at it, but through that, we played a practice round with Hugh Baiocchi from South Africa, and he took a shine to me and liked me and asked me if I wanted to come back and caddy for him full time. So it was like 20 quid apprentice joining with my dad, or travel the world with a professional golf. So it was a no-brainer, really.
Just going back one step, what was really interesting from where you are located, kind of Leeds, Bradford way, Bingley. In that kind of 80s, there was a lot of professional golf taking place there, wasn't there?
There was, yeah.
That was a real hub for professional golf.
It was, yeah. Yeah,
So
there was lots of tournaments in Britain. There must have been a dozen, and now there's, 2?
Well, yeah, British Masters and Wentworth.
That's about it, really, yeah.
So, but you were in a great spot, and because of that, so much incredible golf talent, whether it's caddies, whether it's coaches, whether it's players, have come from that region over the years, and you obviously a benefit to that as well. And you went out and you started caddying in Portugal and Spain, etc. So then the guy from Zimbabwe took a shine to you. So how long then were you with him for?
I was with Hugh Baiocchi. He was from South Africa. Tony Johnson was from Zimbabwe, but I caddied for Hughie for 2.5 seasons, and then I got poached by Gordon Brand Jr. from Scotland. So Gordon was a great player, vastly underrated player, played 2 Ryder Cups. And at the end of the 1990 season, I got offered a job as an assistant professional at Ilkley Golf Club in West Yorkshire. Yeah. And I accepted the job. So I said to Gordon, look, Gordon, I've said I'm packing in at the end of the season, because you couldn't make any money.
I was going to say, in that window there as well, were you just kind of doing it almost as a bit of a hobby? Because like you say, you probably weren't breaking even. You weren't making much money.
I literally went away to make my own game better, to learn from working on a daily basis with the best players in Europe.
Okay.
And to do a bit of travelling for a couple of years.
Right.
And literally, Brand Jr. came along, and it's like, this lad's a good player. You can almost make a bit of a living with it. So I stayed with it. But then eventually it's like, I got offered this job as an assistant pro. I thought, now that's the direction I'm going to go in. So I said to Gordon,
bit of security.
Yeah, I said to Gordon, look, Gordon, at the end of the season, I'm going to pack it in. So I'm giving you 6 weeks notice to find a caddy for next season. And about 3 weeks before the end of the season, we played the German Masters, and we're drawn with David Fierty and Seve Ballesteros.
No way.
So Seve's, the par 5 was the second hole was a par 5 way downhill, and I was a bit sprightly in them days. I was walking pretty fast, running down the hill, and I heard these spikes behind me. I turned round, and it's Seve. He says, what are you doing next season? I says, I'm packing it in, mate. I'm retiring, mate. You can't make any money at this game. No, you too young to retire. I'm looking for a caddy, eh? I went, all right, okay, and I walked on. I never got in conversation with him. And I went back to my hotel that night thinking, you're some plonker, you. Basically, your boyhood heroes just put it on the plate for you. Do you want the caddy for me? And I didn't give him an answer. I'm like, what an absolute plonker.
And at this point, like, how big is Seve at this point?
He's Tiger Woods.
Wow.
He is the Tiger Woods of his generation. It's like the best player that Europe's ever seen. absolute magician. He's everybody's boyhood hero. Anybody over 50 years old, who's your favourite player on earth? It was Seve Bust-Up.
So he's established at this point when he approaches you?
Absolutely. He's won 5 majors.
Oh, my
He's an absolute legend of the game. And it's like, so I'm lying in bed that night thinking, right, okay, I'll get up the next morning. So obviously no mobile phones and all like that. So I wrote my name and address on a piece of paper, ran up to the golf course. As I get there, he's just teed off. I've missed him. So I thought, I ran up the first. And as he's coming off the first green, I give him the bit of paper. I said, here, if you want to bring me out of retirement, you know where to find me. Cheers, mate. Buena suerte. Off-ski. And 2 weeks later, I got a letter, a signed envelope, Severiano Ballesteros Soto, his full name. And then you open this letter. Billy, I've been watching you as a caddy for a few weeks. I like your attitude as a caddy. I thought, oh, that's nice. Then it was like, now these are my conditions. It's like, you cannot speak to the press. You must do your own yardages. There'll be no arguing on the golf course. It's always good to talk after that, but you never argue on the golf course. It's like, give me this absolute bollocking for the next 3 paragraphs. Anyway, let me know if you want the job. So, that's how I got the job. And that letter's still framed on my office wall at home.
Wow.
At that point then, would they offer you like a contract, or is it still just percentage? But obviously you knew how good he was. There's going to be a lot of money to be made.
A caddy's contract is basically on a hole-to-hole basis. I've never had a contract with any player, and if it's time for the change, which obviously happens, or you want to change, which happens occasionally, but normally it's like the player fancies a change because she's a bit too honest for your own good at times. But you're thrown in a ditch overnight. It's not like I relate the job to being a football manager, apart from there's no payoff. So
that could have lasted 2 weeks in theory.
Yeah, it could last 2 holes. If you lasted 5 holes with Seve, you're doing all right in the day. And I lasted 5 years, so I did all right, but it finished in a massive punch up at the side of the clubhouse.
Well, come on, we'll save that story then just quickly. Let's talk about the nice things first. So, what was the age gap at that point?
I was 25, Seve was 33, 34.
Would you say you became friends?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
And is that always the case with every player? I guess it's not.
Hey, listen, you got to learn to adapt. They're all different levels. I've told you, they're all different levels of psychopaths. A lot of them. So you might, somebody might be a 3 out of 10 on the psycho range, and I've worked for guys that are actually a 10 out of 10. If they weren't golfers, they'd be serial killers. Some of them, But it's been different, Rick. That's for sure. Yeah, but you have to adapt and learn to what that player likes, that other player doesn't like. So you need to adapt quickly to.
What did you feel were the attributes that Seve saw in you?
I worked pretty hard in my day. I had a reputation for being like a bit of a Picasso. My drawings were pretty good. Because
I was going to say, was the course planners?
No, there was no. A caddy had to go out and draw his own yardage book. So you literally, some caddies would just draw a circle with a couple of spots on, and that's it. But I actually drew quite a good plan of the course, so that went down. I worked hard.
And you were literally pacing out yardages?
You had a yardage wheel.
You'd actually go out with a wheel?
Yeah. You had a yardage wheel, and then I had like a box with a cog on it that turned. You pulled out string, and it turned over as numbers in this little box that you had tied to your belt. And there were one. I'll never forget it. Now, you obviously get there, and you got a shot through jungle over a lake at Sun City on the 4th hole. Now the kids would just go bang with the laser, 162, and they're on to it next.
Yeah.
I had to tie this bit of string on a tee-peg to the back of the tee. I had to abseil down this cliff.
Oh, my God.
Right, I'm going through this jungle, there's things rustling around everywhere, and I'm trying to get this bit of string, because not much thicker than cotton, really. I'm trying to get it through trees and bushes. Oh, God, honestly, it was so hard, and it took me forever to get through this jungle. Eventually got through, over to the green, round the lake, looked at my box, 162. That's fine. Then you get rid of, roll the string up, and that's it.
Like a fishing line and reel it back in.
Sort of, yeah. So you sort of like snip it off, roll it up, throw it in the bin, but you had a load of...
Oh, yeah, wow.
It took me 1 hour and 15 minutes to get that yardage. 1 hour, 15 minutes to get 1 yardage. And then I found out I'd walked through a cobra pit.
Oh, my God.
Oh, rustling with snakes running around my feet next day.
So this was a practice day, obviously. This was you.
It was like the Monday of before the week of the tournament.
Imagine if someone said to you in that time that in 20 odd years' time there's going to be lasers that do it for you. What would you have thought?
I thought you'd have been mad. Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
And a watch that literally tells you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got your motor caddies, haven't you? It tells you front edge, back edge, and brilliant. It's a completely game changer. Like I said, there was no range balls, so you'd have your shag bag. You roll them out, you play. There'd be like 20 or 30 players on the range, all lit into their caddy stood out in the range, and there's other guys hooking, and caddies are getting whacked left, right, and centre from some guy hooking it 10 yards from their caddy, and you're getting whacked on the head and all sorts.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, and I'm guessing with Seve not being renowned as being the greatest driver of the golf ball, you had some really interesting lines.
I had some tough challenges.
I bet you did. I bet you did. Because it's not like if you were caddying for a player who was consistent, fairway, at least when you did your yardage, you were like, well, he's going to be somewhere near here. Seve could have been anywhere off the tee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was like, you'd have your yardages from either side of the fairway, then you'd have to sort of like, you'd be trying to line it up where he is about 40 yards further left. I mean, some of they're just the best educated guess you could give at times, but, you know, it worked out.
And so again, going back to this idea, how did the players at that time, how dialed in were they to their numbers? Or was it so much more feel orientated back then?
It was so much more feel. I mean, the game's changed within all recognition. It's changed massively. I mean, to me, it's a game that's been destroyed, is my opinion. You know, the technology, the forgiveness of the drivers. Yeah, at the heel, it still goes 280, 300 or whatever. I mean, you hit a persimmon out heel, it went 200, 220.
Well, we're just looking at our story, and then Billy said, my story looks like Seve's garage.
Really?
But the ball,
all these clubs and everything.
But the ball doesn't move like it used to do. I mean, one of the best ball strikers I've ever come across was Ian Woosnam. But, you know, it'd be a back right pin, and he'd hit it middle of the green with a 5-iron with a 10-yard cut and cut a shot in there to like 2 feet. It was golf on another level. The trajectory of the ball and everything was fantastic. The shot making skills were great, and now all these lads now just all bomb it 300 to 350. Don't just tee it up, leather it, don't move. It's just, you know, and drive a 5-irons, you're cutting shots in and now drive a wedges. It's a destroyed game. How
does the cream still rise to the top?
Well, they don't always do that because, you know, back in the day, the gap between the best players and a really good player was huge.
Right.
But now the gap between the really best players and the good players is so much narrower.
Well, that's a good take. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is so. You will get freak winners of big tournaments. But that never used to happen.
Oh, really?
Never used to
Wow.
happen, no.
So let's say Seve was going in as a favourite. A lot of the time he would end up winning that tournament.
I mean, he won 80 tournaments, didn't he? So,
wow.
You know, it was.
So
just on that, we were having a debate before, myself and Rick, about the whole. I know it's been done till the cows come home, but Tiger versus Jack. I know Tiger was kind of in between those two eras, maybe. But from what you're saying, would that put Jack Nicklaus at another level with how good he was back in the day with that equipment and his dominance?
Yeah, Jack would be undoubtedly the best talent of his generation doing handstands. Yeah, absolutely. As is Tiger Woods. I mean, I believe Tiger Woods. You know, from 2008 when he won the US Open with a broken leg, the next 10 years was back operations, hip operations, and countless knee operations, etc. If he'd have stayed fit and stayed with Butch Harmon, he'd have won 25 to 30 majors.
We were literally talking about that last week. We were talking about that on last week's podcast, and we were like, will he go down as not reaching his potential?
100%. He was a golf on another level. I mean, Darren Clarke would rave about it. You know, Tiger hit balls 5 yards behind Darren Clarke on a practice ground, whenever, 2000. And Tiger, say your double F. They used to call him double F, fat something. Fat friend.
Yeah, of course.
And Clarke says, have you seen that? I went, what? Seen what? He says, look at that. Oh, I'm looking across. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, he's just hit balls there for an hour.
Not a mark.
Not a mark. Could have been off this tabletop, like. He just clipped everything. And when I worked for him that time, it was like, I just found myself saying, no, he was only hitting 8 irons, like 165 or something. But is it in big eye draws and is it in big eye cuts, low ones, high ones? You could have thrown a duvet over a lot of them. And I just found myself going, this guy's on a different level. Like.
So similar shot shaping to what you saw historically, to what you saw Seve doing, what you saw Ian Woosnam doing it. Like Tiger still had that with the modern equipment, modern ball.
It's 25 years ago.
Yeah, it's more like the wound balls back then.
20 years ago.
So before we get into the Tiger bit, because obviously we've got to dive into that, you mentioned there's a bit of a bust up then with Seve at the end.
Yeah, there were really. Yeah. I think they were going a bit mad, to be quite honest. Stupid little things were starting. It'd be like, Billy, give me some tea pegs. So I like unzip the bag. Yeah, there you go, mate. Why you not got tea pegs in your pocket, you son of my bitch? How many times I have to tell you and all? You're like, but every little day there were another niggle, another nudge, another poke at you. We're like,
And was that on his search for almost perfection?
no, because his game was dwindling. He went up and down. He played great for 3 months, and then he played like me for 9 months, and then he played great again for 3 months. I got the last dregs out of him. I won 8 tournaments with him, and good tournaments, PGA Championship and World Match Play, etc. But it were like, he was driving me insane, and I could feel the volcano building, and an incident happened on the 17th at Augusta. And he wanted to hit a 7-iron, and I wanted to hit a 6-iron. It was a back left pin on the 17th. And eventually, he's gone with what I've said. He's hit this 6-iron, and it's rolled past you, and it's just fallen a yard off the back of the green, but the pin's right at the back left. So it's an easy chip. I mean, it's like 18 feet from the hole, like 20 feet max. Seve Bust-Up, straight chip back up the hill, and he's chipped it 5 foot past. And you just know as a caddy, they ain't going to bail you out. And I'm praying like that, oh, please hold it, please hold it. Ooh, misses it. Well, I got the biggest rollicking 4 times before I'd even got off the green. We walk it to 18th tee, and he stopped here and gave me another one. I was like, it's destroying me. And I'm like, I'm gone now.
Yeah.
I thought, if he has one more go on this 18th tee, I'm going to erupt.
This is going against his things as well, isn't it? What you said in the letter originally was don't argue on the golf course.
No, Billy couldn't argue with
No,
Seve.
That would make perfect
You could
sense.
get pelters all day long, but I wasn't allowed to reply. But anyway,
makes sense then.
So we get to 18th tee, and we're playing with Ray Floyd, and Steve Williams, Tigers caddy's caddy for Ray Floyd. And he stops and serves me another one. And honestly, from belly, I just screamed as loud as I could. They could hear me at the clubhouse. I effing heard you. All right. He went, absolutely did one. He teed off, blanked me, didn't speak to me after the round. And his brother says, Seve wants to see you on the range. So I went to the range. And I had to go out onto the range and pace off how far his wedges were flying. So I've walked out 130 yards, whatever. The balls are landing, and everyone that bounces up, I'm heading every one of them. 15, honestly, 15 balls in a row, I headed him. And he's like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? And he wears me in.
Are you sure Caddy's out a little bit on this psycho scale as well?
They drive you that way, that's for sure, yeah.
I think you're all a 9.
Oh, aye. So, okay, we need to talk. We'll go to the side of the clubhouse and have a chat. And all the cats and dogs came out.
Oh, my
I just
God.
absolutely ripped him to pieces. I mean, if it had been a fight, ref had the front toweling in my favour after a round. Absolutely destroyed him. He's like, Billy, I love you like my brother. I treat you like my brother. I said, well, I won't want to be your effing brother, then would I? Oh, I killed him. And and that was like on the Wednesday. So I still caddied the Masters. I caddied Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I got home, flew back home on the Monday. And as I get to my house on the Tuesday morning, I'm opening the back door of my little terrace house, walking, and the phone's ringing. And it was Joe Collette, Seve's manager. Billy, you are no longer required. Okay, fair enough. But he wanted me to come back a couple of months later, but I'd moved on with Darren Clarke, and who was 25-year-old and an up-and-coming stud, like. So, obviously stay with Darren. But
Wow. Wow. There's an iconic shot that I know, obviously you were part of with Seve, but what is the most iconic shot that you witnessed?
Oh, it's from behind the wall in Switzerland.
It is the one in Switzerland,
It's the greatest golf shot that's ever been hit. I mean, it's mental.
Talk us through it.
Well, to have the imagination to play that shot. I mean, he was 5 shots off the lead with 6 holes to play, and he birdied 5 holes in a row, 13 to 17. Birdied them all. So he's tied for the lead, stood on the last tee, and he's blocked it 30 yards right.
It's a dogleg right into the 18th.
No, it's dead straight, but it's a sloping fairway.
Right.
So it's not like blocked, and it ran down the hill and finished behind a wall. It's 8 foot high, concrete wall, and over the top of the wall was just fir trees. And the greens, you can't see anything. You're just totally blocked out. So I'm like, it's dead. Chip it out sideways, mate. No, Billy, I think I see the shot there. I'm like, what? You've lost the plot, mate. I said, just chip it out sideways. You can wedge it on the green, still make par, win the tournament. No, Billy, you see this. And he's pointing up above the wall. I'm thinking he can't get it over the wall to start with. But then about 7 o'clock, over the top of the wall, there's a chink of daylight in one of the trees about the size of a dinner plate. No, I think I see the shot there. Go get the yardage. I'm like, you've lost the plot, mate. So I've walked outside it for my kid's life to this day. I never got a yardage. I just looked up and went, 140 will do. I did, honestly. What's the point in getting a yardage? So I walked back, said 140. Okay, give me the pitching wedge, eh? I'm like, I said, look, I know you're Seve Bust-Up, but you're not effing Paul Daniel. Just chip it out, will you? Why I listen to you? Why you put doubt in my mind? You son of my bitch, I have the shot. No, the caddy, go away. I play the shot. Honestly, I've walked to the other side of the fairway because if it hits the wall and it's me, 2-shot penalty, let me get out of here. But if it clips any of those trees, it drops the other side of the wall. It's in the swimming pool out of bounds. Yeah. It's like mental. What you're thinking of. And I'm just thinking, well, I'm going to, as a typical Yorkshireman, I'm thinking about my percentage money's going to go swan diving here.
And what is he, second place at this point?
He's tied for the lead.
Okay.
He's tied for the lead. And I've gone over the other side of the fairway, looking across the fairway, and I see all this dust fly up. I thought, I haven't hit the wall, and I don't hit any trees. And then I see it's coming out. Now, it's at top of his flight, going over Jean-Claude on top of diving board at swimming pool. Then there were 4 80-foot pine trees, about 40 yards short of the green. As it's going over them, I thought, I'm actually witnessing the best golf shot that's ever been seen. Never mind pulling it off. Just have the imagination to see it in the first place. And it landed a yard short of the green. So it just goes to show, if I give him the right yardage, you might have knocked it on. And then he chips it in for a birdie, and I had to get down on my hands and knees, bowing to him. You are Jesus Christ, Seve Bust-Up, you are the king. Yeah. But yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
Oh,
I'll tell you another one. I can't believe I did this. So I'm caddying for him at St Mellion, and he's leading the tournament on the last hole, and he's got a 2-shot lead over Nick Faldo and Gary O. So the pin's front left over the water, and I've got the yardage, 184 metres. Which is like 202 yards, and I thought, right on his limit for a 5-iron this. And if he hits a 5-iron and he misses any of it, it's in the water, he'll lose the tournament. I'm thinking, just hit it.
And was he metres or yards?
He was metres.
Yeah.
So 184 metres, I'm thinking, just hit it. The sensible thing to me, because the water's front left, just hit the right edge of the green, 3-putt and win the tournament. But that's not how Seve works. You know he's going to go at it. Says, Billy, how far we have? I said, he got 190 metres, mate. I give him 6 yards more. Okay, what do you think? I said, it's just a smooth 4-iron, mate. Yeah, it's okay, smooth 4-iron. Yeah. So he gets the 4-iron out and flushes it straight over the flag, out of bounds over the green.
Oh.
No, he didn't. No, it actually finished about 6 or 7 yards past the hole. So if I'd given him the right number, he might have stiffed it. But I thought, I took the defensive play, like 18 to 20 foot past the hole, and he 2-putted to win by 2 shots. And as we're in the fair, I went, I said, I gave you the wrong yardage there on purpose. He was not happy. I can't believe I did it, but it worked out well.
Are you surprised you told him?
Wow.
I can't believe I did it in the first place. There's not a chance I'd do that now.
That's mental.
Yeah, it was mental, yeah.
And then you mentioned, obviously, working with Seve, you then went to Darren Clarke. You were with Darren for a number of years.
Yeah, I did about 10 years. A little sabbatical in the years, you do, but a little sabbatical after 4 years, and then came back for another 6 or whatever it was. Yeah.
I bet that was a stark contrast between, obviously, caddying with Seve, because I'm guessing the attention that Seve got as you played as well was almost Tiger-esque. Like, your crowd management needed to be pretty good as well.
Yeah, 100%. And it's amazing, if you could take Darren Clarke's ball striking and iron play and let Seve chip and putt and have Seve's head, he'd have probably won 20 majors. Clarke were that good. Green. He was incredible. Fortunately for Darren, he'd nicked an open right at the death of his career at 42 years old, and if he hadn't a woman, it'd have been a travesty. As with Lee, and Monty, how they've not won is incredible, but Clarke was a serious golfer.
What was that transition like then working with him? How did that contrast? Was it a totally different relationship? Because you said then he was younger than you. Did that kind of play into that a little bit as well?
Yeah, a little bit. I think Clarke, it was different because you work for Seve and you work for Sergio's and people like that, and they're in control of their own game as such. Darren, honestly, I need a bit first to admit it. I used to do everything, but actually at the shop for him. I mean, I was like a guide dog. I literally talk him through everything.
Really?
Where to land it in with chipping, right? To chip this with a pitching wedge, you need to land it 4 yards on the green. It's going to break 15 foot left to right. And be like, right, okay. I used to read every putt pretty much, just every shot. And
how did you know all that? I know it sounds like a daft question, but you played at a good standard, but you never played on tour. Like, how did you have that confidence to say to Darren Clarke, this is the shot you've got to try and play? Was that the experience that you picked up from the players?
You've just had 5 years of the best education any golfer could ever give you. So you paint a picture. Even to this day, if I play golf now, I paint a picture in my own mind of what Seve would see. I see shots that maybe I can't pull them off, but I see it. I see it and I go for it. And yeah, it's a totally different way of thinking, but it's ingrained in you.
Did that totally change your mindset about caddying after caddying with Seve? Did it ever become a question mark to go, I'm going to do 5 years with Seve and then go and get the job back at the golf club? Or after that 5 years, were you like, right, I now know I want to be a caddy for the rest of my life?
After that 5 years, I knew that the game had gone to another level. And then at that stage, Jesus came along, didn't he? Tiger. Yeah. And the goalpost completely just changed.
Moved decimal dot.
He did, yeah. He changed the game completely. So if you had a top player, all of a sudden, hang on a minute, you can make serious money at this game now. So obviously, you stayed at it.
Just one question I wanted to ask about was Darren Clarke, which I think is one of the most inspirational things I've ever seen. Was obviously his wife died very young, and you were caddying for him at the time, I believe. And then he obviously played the Ryder Cup. It was the month after his wife passed away. It was 39 years old. That must have been a very traumatic experience, but also one that we've obviously had this experience last month with the Ryder Cup and some negativity. But the moments that people shared with him then were so special. That must have been an incredible experience.
You know, I caddied for 43 years, and people say to you, what's your most special thing that's ever happened to you in golf? And people would expect me to say, well, winning the US Open with Fitz when you thought you were never going to win one, but it ain't. It's that moment with Darren Clarke. 6 weeks, I went to Heather's funeral. Clarke is left with 2 young lads, probably 6 and 4 years old, whatever Tyrone and Connor were. And I got a phone call 3 weeks after the funeral. Billy, how you doing, Darren? You all right? Yeah, I want to ask you a question. Wuzzy, the captain, has just phoned me to see if I'll accept a wildcard to play in the Ryder Cup. What do you think? And I just said, well, Clarke, I said, obviously it's unbelievably traumatic circumstances, this like. I said, if you're asking me if your game's good enough to play, you're still playing great golf, you're good enough to play. But the one thing I'll say to you is, you've got to get ready. Are you ready for this incredible atmosphere and the unbelievable emotion you're going to go through? Nowhere to hide, mate. The world's looking at you. I said, the one thing I will say is what Heather would want you to play and win it for her, like, so I'll leave you with that thought. And anyway, a couple of days later, phone back, Billy decided to play. I'm like, are you for real? But like, fair play to him. So you get there on the Monday, getting the likes of Tiger and Phil Mickelson, all that, hugging him, tears, genuine tears. But, you know, make no bones about it. You walk to that fifth tee, that first tee on the Friday for the first match. They ain't going to give a toss about Darren Clarke. They want a point for America. And that's professional sport. You got to accept that. And I walked to the tee a minute in front of Darren to get a few last minute things, you know, a bit of water, food, wet the towel, get the pin streak, get the bib on, etc. As I walked onto the middle of the tee, like walking onto this tabletop here, and I felt like Wembley Stadium were built around me. Every person stood up. They're all stamping their feet in the crowd, singing all that. I'm getting goosebumps now. It's 19 years ago. And I just thought, oh my God, how is he going to hit this opening tee shot? Because I just had a vision of myself hitting a foot behind it, Swiss roll in the divot, just enough to...
And he hit the opening tee shot?
He walked on there. I'll tell you, Concorde could have flown over that first tee. You wouldn't have heard it. It was incredible. And I started crying. I've never cried on a golf course in my life. Even when Thomas Bjorn left in that bunker 3 times, I didn't cry. But I found myself crying. I thought, you poor sod, how are you going to hit this opening tee shot? And he bombed it 310, 8 to 8 foot and made birdie.
Crazy.
And he birdied the last hole to win the match against Phil Mickelson and Christy Marco, who were pretty much their strongest team that year. Anyway, in the afternoon, he brought in Monty to play with Westwood, and Clarke took the afternoon off. But then the next morning, we're playing Tiger Woods and Mr. Burns, Jim Furyk, against Clarke in Westwood.
I've not heard that before.
So, yeah. So, anyway, first 3 balls hit to like 6 foot the first, 7 foot the second, 6 foot the third, 4 foot the fourth, 5 foot the fifth. It was brilliant golf. Westwood, that was. And he missed every putt, so no change there, like. Clarke is all over the place.
Was he?
Oh, hooking it, shanking it. I mean, he was struggling with his game. So I just thought, I need to do the right thing here. You just know when you're working with somebody 30 weeks a year, 7 days a week, 10 hours a day, you know him better than you know your missus. Yeah. You know what he's thinking.
Yeah.
I thought, he's not the races here. I need to protect him.
Yeah. But
I need to protect the team, to be honest, for the team's sake. That's what I'm thinking. So after the 9th hole, Jesus misses one from about 2.5 foot. So Clarke and Westwood had 2 up.
Jesus.
2 up going to the 10th tee.
Jesus and Mr. Burns.
Yeah. So anyway, I see Peter Baker was his assistant captain. I said, Bakes, come here. What is it? I said, just let Wuzzy know Westwood is playing like God. Darren Clarke's playing like me. And I'm all right, I'll get the message back. Long story short, Clarke chips in on the 16th. They win the match 3-2. Great victory. But now I'm stood on the range. I don't know who's playing in the afternoon. See the giant scoreboard. Donald Garcia. Match number 3. Westwood. Montgomery. No sign of Clarke. Thought, oh, he's got the message. Anyway, the afternoon game's tee off and Clarke comes out. It's a few balls with Darth Vader, Pete Cowan. And he turns to me. This is great Ryder Cup captaincy, was he? But as bright as 2 o'clock in the morning, thanks, was. Because Clarke turns to me and says, "Did you say something to Wuzzy?" No. Well, I didn't. I said it's Peter Baker. He said, well, that's funny because Wuzzy just came up to him and said, "Darren, I'm really sorry you're not playing this afternoon. Billy says you're playing absolute shit."
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God. He threw me under the bus like a can't believe. Clarke did not speak to me all day. Completely blanked me. May as well have been dead. I had to walk into the locker room on the Sunday morning for the singles. I said, "Clarke, help me hands
Well, at least you're playing today.
Yeah. At least I'm still there, yeah.
No, at least Clarke is playing on the Sunday.
Yeah. I said, "Clarke," I said, "what I did yesterday, I apologise. I thought I did it for the benefit of yourself and the benefit of the team." I said, "If you want to sack me, sack me. Let's get out of there. Win your match against Zach Johnson. Let's win it forever. Let's win the Ryder Cup. Then you can sack me. Come on, let's go." And I walked out. And 4 hours later, he'd done all those things, and I was hugging him in tears on 16th green, and he'd won the Ryder Cup together. And yeah, it was that will be my most special memory in golf for Caddy till I was 80. Like,
Jeez.
Yeah, it was amazing.
You love the Ryder Cup, don't you?
Yeah, I've been there 16 of them. It's been a massive part of me. Well, it's been everything. Massive part of my career.
Are you the caddy that's caddied for in the most Ryder Cups?
Yeah. Yeah, there's nobody. I mean, I think Fluff might have done 12.
Wow.
European-wise, I don't think anybody's done more than 8, really.
Wow. You've done 16.
Yeah. Well, 15 as a caddy and 1 as a vice assistant type. Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. And for Clarke, Westwood?
I did 2 with Bram Jr., 2 with Seve, about 5 with Clarke, a couple that were Westy, 1 with Soren Hansen, because Scotchy, God bless you, Scotchy, who passed away yesterday, he couldn't caddy, so I had to, he was injured, so I had to caddy for him, and then 2 or 3 with Fitz, was it? Yeah, 2 with Fitz, I think, I can't remember, maybe 3.
That's wild.
You know, when we hear a lot about, obviously, certainly with Luke, this last couple of Ryder Cups, about how much of a team they are and how much stuff they do together, what's it like for the caddies? Do you form a big bond with the other caddies as well? Is that something that you don't see kind of as much, but are you guys all really tight?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's a great team environment. You know, you're in that team room and you're a band of brothers together. And I've actually been in the other one when I caddied for Tiger in the President's Cup, and the caddies and the players were in 2 different trailers. Like,
oh, really? Totally different.
Totally different.
Do you think that's what the USA team is like? Like, do you see it in the US team that the caddies and the players are very separate?
No, I think it's a bit different now. I think they try to get on the same wavelength, but the team spirit, the songs and the carrying on, the camaraderie, the taking basically is on a different level. And if you could go in that team environment inside that locker room at certain moments, it's something to die for to see. Whether it be all the lads singing and carrying on together, or whether it be Shane Lowry stood on a table shouting and screaming what we're going to do tomorrow and all that after Hackgate and all that, and Poulter and Garcia's and like chirping up and shouting. And
I bet you've seen some.
It's been great.
I bet you've seen some stuff.
Yeah,
Jeez,
it's fly on the wall stuff. It really is. It's amazing.
Who do you feel? Might have been Seve, but who's the most passionate Ryder Cup player?
It's not even close.
Seve.
Not even close. Lunatic.
I mean, there's obviously like Medina. That was soon after Seve passed. Like, they all had the Seve logo on the sleeve. Like, they did it for Seve, the 2012.
There was, listen, the Ryder Cup's changed obviously because the modern day players, most of them live in America.
Yeah.
They play the PGA Tour, so they're with the lads all the time. But going back to the 80s, when it was the European Tour of Seve, Langer, Lyle, Wuzzy, Faldo, whatever. Against it was European Tour against the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
It was Seve. Honestly, it was pure and utter hatred. Hatred with the capital H that he could land an helicopter on it. Honestly, he despised them.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Did the
Oh
whole
my
thing with the
goodness.
course make more of a difference then as well? Because obviously they talk now about the setup of the course, but as you said, most of the guys in the US team, all of them pretty much play in the States anyway. It doesn't feel like it's that much of an advantage now, but back then in those days, was that such a big thing for the Europeans to travel to America and play these different grasses, different grains, etc.?
Yeah, listen, it's like I said, that all the lads now play on that PGA Tour all the time now, so they're used to it. But like, you know, back in the day when you're playing German Opens and Scandinavian Masters and French Opens and stuff, it's
More town.
to adapt to playing over there. I mean, first time I went to Muirfield Village, first time in America, first Ryder Cup, 1987. The coach pulled into the car park and I'm looking across and I'm thinking, what's all these little greens? How pristine, what are all these little greens? Found out with the tees. I'd, honestly, coming from West Yorkshire to go into there, I mean, even European Tour courses were in poor condition, relatively like, but I mean, yeah, all these little greens with tees, it was just pristine.
I've got on record saying, and I'd love to know your take on this, I think USA players should have USA caddies, and I think European players should have only European caddies. What's your take?
Well, that's their choice, but I've gone on record and I'll say it again. There's not a chance on earth I would caddy for America in a Ryder Cup. Not a chance.
What's it like for American caddies who caddy for Europeans?
Well, there's quite a few of them, doesn't it? I mean, the last Ryder Cup you had Dewey that works for Sepp Straka, he's American, and you had Joe that caddies for Ludwig, he's American. So
John Rahm's caddy?
John Rahm's caddy, yeah, 3 of them.
Like it's
infiltrators.
It's bizarre, isn't it? Like what do they? How do they?
Hey, listen, their take on it is that's my boss. I'm working for my boss wherever he goes, which I admire. Personally, not a chance. I mean, there were rumours years ago that I heard it from 5 press guys. Billy, get ready. Tiger Woods is going to ask you to work for him. I'm like, what? Oh no, we know he is asking you. I'm like, so you start going through your head. What would you do? It's like Colin Morikawa this year. I worked for Colin at the Scottish and the Open. Well, just imagine if he wins the Open and says, Billy, do you want to caddy for me the rest of the year? I'd have said, well, yeah, that'd be nice, but I can't do the Ryder Cup.
I've got that week off.
Yeah.
Would you genuinely? Would you
I'm on holiday that
you
week.
seem like you mean that, but genuinely, do you mean that you wouldn't caddy? So if you got the job with Colin this year and he said at the Ryder Cup you wouldn't entertain it for that week, you'd have to get somebody else in.
100%.
Well, fair dues.
No, I could never do it. I am like the Ryder Cup is in. It's might have been my life. It's in my blood. So to turn turncoat and go and caddy for them,
Yeah.
I'd be giving wrong yardages on purpose. Like, read this putt, right, Lib. About 6 inches outside the left, mate. Honestly, I couldn't do it. No.
Do you think there should be a rule that you should have a European caddy?
No, I don't. No.
You don't?
No. Well, whatever the player's happy with, that's fine. It's just a personal thing of mine that I couldn't do it.
So, coming on to then, the time, well, you've picked up on a few things there. The time you caddied for Jesus in the President's Cup, and the time you were almost then tipped to be caddying for him full time. Let's start with the President Cup first. How did that all come about?
I was at Akron, Ohio for the Bridgestone tournament, caddying for Darren Clarke. Tiger comes along, starts chatting to Darren Clarke, walks away, and about 2 minutes later, Clarke turns around and says, you know what that were all about? I went, no, what? He said, well, Tiger's come across and Steve Williams, his wife's having a baby and he wants somebody to caddy for a week and he says he wants you to work for him. He's just asked me if it's all right. I went, really? He says, what are you going to do? I says, I don't know. And Wes is hitting balls at the side of him, turns around and said, hey, Billy, if you don't work for him, I will. And I went, good point, Lee, good point. So obviously I went and shook his hand, love to do it, mate. And but it was funny, really, because after a couple of weeks, I had heard a few rumours. A few of the American caddies weren't happy about a European going to caddy for Tiger
In the President's Cup.
And I went
where was it?
It was in Virginia.
Right, so it was a home...
It was a home Ryder Cup for them.
A home President's Cup.
America, yeah, Washington. So I went to Tiger a few weeks later. Next time I saw him, I said, Tiger, I understand there's a bit of unrest in the camp. They don't want me to caddy for you. He just went, F them, Billy, you're caddying. I went, all right, mate, fair enough. Yeah, but it was like winding the clock back to the Seve days of, there's only 2 people I've ever worked for where you feel that order and the excitement of the crowd everywhere they go. It's like, wow, this is like another level, like, you know, and walking through that crowd, you know, the noise levels were just a joke, screaming and shouting and caddying and pen marks all over him, hats on sideways. I'm like, right, I need to get out of here. My ears were bleeding. And we walked up to the first tee that was set back on its own, nobody there, apart from me. And he walks on the tee. I remember stopping him saying, Tiger, I've got to tell you something. You might be have any woman in the world you want. You might be a billionaire and go down the best ever golfer that's ever played the game. But I won't swap your lives. And he went, thanks for that, Billy. At least somebody understands what I have to go through. That's why I don't play so much. I said, I get it. Yeah. People don't cut him any slack for that. I couldn't live his life.
Well, it's just non-stop, isn't it?
Non-stop.
It's just literally anywhere he goes.
Everywhere you go. You go in a steak restaurant, you chop it into your steak, and it's like, oh, can I have a selfie? Can you sign this on me? Can I finish my steak first? Like, it's got to be so difficult.
I think we've talked about this on the podcast before. Like, would you swap lives, like Mr. Burns? Would you rather be Mr. Burns, Jim Furyk, or Tiger Woods? And it's like, there is a bit of a debate there, potentially.
Well, Mr.
You might not have said Mr. Burns.
Well, no, I'll call him Jim. He's a lovely fella. Gentleman Jim is a gentleman. And I don't know, you look it up, Jim's probably won $75 million on tour. Like, he's done all right, like.
Yeah.
And nobody will hassle him. He'll go pushing his trolley around Sainsbury's and nobody will bat an eyelid, like. They'd have to close the store if Tiger were walking down, wouldn't they?
It's wild, isn't it?
So, yeah, I'd probably have Jim's record.
So you caddied for him at the President's Cup. What was that relationship like?
It was great, really good. Obviously, I won't lie to you. First day or so, you're a little bit apprehensive because this is the chosen one, and it's like. But once that first few hours had gone, I was like, just another fella, like. But I thought his manners were the one thing that stood out to me. Absolutely impeccable. Please and thank you for everything, and that I like that.
Yeah, of course,
that was class. And he was struggling with his game a little bit, but still showed me enough to go, oh my God, how good is this? For this is another level. There were 2 instances. We got on the first tee, and the bunker was like 290 off the tee. And he said, "What do you think, Bill?" I said, "I'd just like, 2 iron down there. It'll finish about 20 yards short of that bunker." Yeah. I just want to try a driver, like. Well, driver were like 300, but we're going back 20 years.
Yeah.
Bunker were like 307 yards or something into the breeze. And he flew it over comfortably. I'm like, oh my God. Because Clarke back at the time was a big hitter. And back then, Clarke beating it, probably carrying it 275.
Yeah, just getting into the front edge of that bunker.
Oh, he might not reach it. And he's flown it. I'm like, oh my God. And then we got on another hole, the 11th. And he told me how far he is his clubs. It's a wedge 142, right? So we get to the 11th. It's like 5 yards uphill, into the wind from the right, 144 or something. What do you like, Billy? Wedge? I went, nah, I said, it's just a nice little soft 9-iron, mate. He's playing, he's got to be playing over 150, that. And he's saying he's in a wedge 142. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I just want to step on one here. I went, okay. Hit a wedge to 6 inches. I says, how's that work out? And you say you hit a wedge 142, and basically it's probably playing 155, really. He said, oh, don't worry about it. I've got another gear when I need it. I went, oh, yeah.
Like, when you were in that presence and when you walking around with him and walking the fairways, like, are you chatting to him? Like, are you trying to keep his mind off it? Was he very different to the players you work with?
No, just another fella, mate. That's it. He's just, you cut him and blood comes out, believe it or not. He's just a normal fella. And when I'm out there, I try to be serious for that 1 minute that you have to be. But apart from that, you'd be talking all sorts of rubbish, like, like that bird's knockers over there or whatever. It's like all sorts of rubbish, it's like, yeah, so I got on with him really well. Right, and telling him a few stories, having a laugh in between shots and that. It was good fun. Enjoyed it.
Was this post Toiletgate?
No, it was after Toiletgate, because Toiletgate was 2002. And I think that's why I got the job for the President's Cup. Not because I'm a good caddy, because I saved his bacon at the Ryder Cup.
Have you heard this?
No.
This is such a great story. Go on, Billy, give us this.
Yeah,
give us the time when you saved Tiger's bacon.
Yeah, it was Ryder Cup 2002. First match, first morning, was Darren Clarke and Thomas Bjorn playing Tiger Woods and Paul Lazinger. So Clarke has done his practice up to the putting green, 7:45, first tee time 8 o'clock. So I've said to Clarke, Clarke, pre-match nerves, the old flock of seagulls are flapping. I said, I need to go for a Tom Kite. I'll be back in a minute. Right, Billy, off you go. So I go into the toilet. There's Cubby. Davis Love, the Turds caddies in there. And morning, Cubby. Morning, Billy. So I sit down, trolleys around the ankles, look across. Oh, my God, no toilet paper. Full reverse. Across the corridor to trap 2. Sit down. Look behind me. 20 rolls of toilet paper on shelf behind. Next minute, spikes on the bathroom floor. Morning cubby, morning target. Bang, trap one where I've just come from. I'm like, oh. And then I'm listening, I hear the little crackle. I thought, oh, that's chaos there. That's chaos right there. Now I'm using the excess toilet paper. I'm drying my eyes because I'm crying because like there's 6 minutes to tee off here now or something like that. And I'm the only man in the world that knows that Jesus is in there with no toilet paper. And I'm crying, wiping the tears, because I've just got this vision of him walking up the fifth hole of the day, bow-legged like John Wayne that's just off his horse, with a pair of underpants resembling a Japanese flag. And I started laughing. Then he had a little sigh. I thought, I can't do it to him. So I've gone back, rolled up about 20 sheets, and I've gone down on my hands and knees under his toilet door. And they're going about Diego Maradona being the hand of God. I'll tell you, this was the hand of God for Tiger Woods. I'm under the toilet door, and whoever's in there, you might be needing this. As I walked out, I went, you're one up. And sure enough, beat him 1 up. And and he came out with the biggest smile on his face. I said, you owe me big time, Tiger. He went, Billy, I owe you big time. I think that's why I got the job.
That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. So, I mean, that's such a
with these
story.
players that you've obviously Tiger, you've caddied for and know him. Like if you see him at an event next year, God hope he's ever at an event again after these extra surgeries, we don't know. But like, do you still have chats with him and reminisce about these times?
Not so much a reminisce, but we have a mutual respect and give each other a big hug and how you doing as a family, all that stuff. Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah, it's great.
I think there is a handful of players, obviously, over the, when we look at history, and I was a little bit too late to really understand the whole Seve era. I can respect it, but I wasn't alive. But obviously for me, growing up, Tiger is the absolute man. And you look back at people like Seve and the Jack Nicklaus, Gary players, etc. There's, those 10, 12 players over the last 100 years or so who've absolutely changed the game. And you've obviously caddied for 2 of those. So that's incredible.
When the rumours were starting to spread about you potentially being asked by Tiger to be caddy, what happened there?
First of all, nothing came of it in the end, but I'd made my mind up what we were going to do in my own head, because I was working for Lee Westwood at the time. Same wavelength, same sense of humour. I loved working for Lee. Number 3 or 4 in the world. I would have stayed with Lee.
Really?
Yeah, wow. That would have been a big call, but I was prepared to stay with Westy.
And then you had, again, you've had a few spells with Westy. More recently, just last year, ending the season.
Came and say you won't live for 3 weeks, didn't I?
You came and saw us. It was nice to see you.
I want to come back. Find me a job.
Well, I remember when.
Was that this season just finished?
Yeah, you did the last 3 events, was it?
Yes.
Right.
Chicago, Detroit, and Michigan. When you were working with Westwood, how long was that for the original stint? How long was that stint for?
I did 2009 to 2000 and midway through 2012. I snapped my cruciate ligament, and I had to have 15 months to get back to work. So yeah, I disappeared for probably 18 months. Lee got another caddy, and eventually I went back at the end of 2013.
You very much seem like you're on the same wavelength as you mentioned.
No, if you, out of all the people I work for, who would you say you enjoyed the most? I think it was Westy, to be quite honest. Yeah.
What did you like working with? What did you like most about working with Westy?
We just sang off the same in street and both had that sick sense of humour that you could have a laugh at anything.
Very dry humour, both of you.
Yeah, I loved it. They were great times, and he got to number 1 in the world, putting like Edward Scissorhands.
Would you say? Obviously, I know it sounds ridiculous to say, but you've worked with Seve, Tiger, etc. You know how good putting is, and you mentioned there that obviously Lee's putting really let him down. Was it really bad? No,
Wesley, he's actually a really good putter in the 90s before I worked for him. But when I worked for him, when he got to world number 1, he still putted nicely. But he hit it so close so often. It's a bit Scotty Scheffler-ish of a couple of years ago. It was like, and I actually relate Scotty to Westwood now. It's like the distance control of them 2 players are the finest I think I've ever seen. It's a joke now how Scotty Scheffler keeps in it to like 5 foot, 10 foot every hole, and Westy will like that. His distance control, I could tell you when Westy hit a shot 20 yards off the club face, I could go and throw a blanket on the green where it's going to finish, because he was that good, that consistent.
What? Because the amount of times on a Thursday, Friday, he was leading a major tournament
Yeah. It was Sunday afternoons that just couldn't quite all the putts when it mattered. And some people did incredible things like Mickelson at the 2010 Masters. Westy was leading and playing great. Mickelson hit 20 yards left in the trees off 8. Hit it 40 yards right off 9 in the trees. Hit it 20 yards right in the trees on 10. Hit it 20 yards right on the trees on 11. Then drove it through the fairway in the trees on 13 where he played the incredible shot. And he played that stretch of holes 2 under par. Anybody else would have been 3 over. And that turned that Masters.
Wow.
Westy would have won that.
What? Obviously, I get a chance to chat to Westy, but it's always a difficult conversation to ask a player directly. Do you feel like he, not regrets, but do you feel like there's like that? Oh, he should have had 4 or 5 majors.
I think Lee's pretty cool with that. I think he's had a great career. 10, 11 Ryder Cups. He's been a stalwart. He's been a fantastic player. Won Order of Merit a couple of times, maybe 3. I listen deep down. I don't think he'd ever say it, but it's got to be in your gut. You're thinking, I could have had a couple there, and he could have had 4 or 5 when I was working for him. Things just get ripped away, or he just missed the putts at the wrong times. But it's got to be in there somewhere. That it does hurt a bit, but he won't let it affect him at all.
What's that like as a caddy? You walk off that green on a Sunday, and another major tournament slipped away. How do you console the player? Is that your role? Do you have that little quiet time with the player, or do you let managers, family, etc.? How does that work?
Go and have about 10 beers and get over it quickly.
Right.
Listen,
drink your sorrows.
Listen, I've shed a tear at times walking away from Turnberry. When he 3-putted the last hole. Darren Clarke, he double bogeyed the 17th at Lytham. It beats you up. It beats you up for a couple of hours. Apart from the Thomas Bjorn one.
I was going to say, tell us about that one.
That beat me up for 6 months. I thought about it every day for 6 months. Broke my heart.
This was Royal St George's?
Royal St George's, yeah. He left it in a bunker the first round on the 17th. Hit the sand in anger. And as he came out, he said, "Can I believe I did that?" I said, "Can I believe you did what?" He said, "Just made double bogey there." I said, "Well, he just hit the sand in anger. It's a 2-shot penalty, so it's an 8. He made an 8 the first round, and he still led by 3 with 4 holes to play. And I've been out in the morning looking at the pins, and I knew you'd 6 foot to the right of the flag and it was a graveyard, or you'd half a Kent to the left. So I said, just TV tower, middle of the green, Thomas, 30 feet, nowhere else. Yep, no problem. And there was a bit of a delay, and we were waiting for the group in front. Anyway, he hit the shot, and it ended up going straight at the flag, and the ball hadn't gone off the end of the tee, and I'm screaming at myself, and no, because I knew where it would go, and it bounced down and finished in the bunker. Took him 3 to get out, in his footprints. Bogeyed 17, lost by a shot. It's like, oh my God. And as I'm walking out, all I can hear is thinking Peter Dawson, and the winner of the gold medal, Ben Curtis. I'm like, what? Ben Curtis? And then it hit me. I'm like, oh my God. That was the longest 6-hour drive back to Yorkshire I've ever had. I thought about it for 6 months. Yeah, it broke my heart.
What could you have done anything different?
I couldn't have done anything different. I'd said the right things, what I needed to do. It's just, it just didn't happen.
Not that they should, but do players ever apologise to the caddy? Because they obviously know how much it means to you guys as well to win, and obviously to win the prize money, your percentage, etc. Have you ever had it where a player's messed up and said, "I'm sorry"?
Yeah, I have actually, but yeah, I'll keep that to myself. They do get an odd one that I'm really sorry about, and built on it, Because
they obviously, I'm guessing sometimes you build these friendships with the guys, know your wife or your family, or whatever, and they know that 5% of X is a lot more than 5% of Y. And if you're not getting that, whether they feel responsible, but it's interesting that that has happened before. That they have said sorry.
It's definitely happened. Yeah, things do happen. You get emotional out there, don't you? And things happen, and sometimes there's one thing about golf. You got to get used to the huge disappointments that's going to come your way, because even Jack Nicklaus said you're going to have more bad days than good days on a golf course. And when you try to win tournaments and you're in contention a lot, guess what? You don't win very often, but you cock up a lot. Not necessarily make a mess of it, but you lose and it hurts. And the mood swings, honestly, the mood swings are horrendous.
Do you think sometimes that caddies can be a bit of a scapegoat? Because obviously you can have good caddies, you can have bad caddies. Of course you can, and you obviously are a good caddy, hence why you've done it for so long and so successfully. But I don't know anything about caddying. It's no secret.
Neither do I.
I think you do. But I felt before Rory managed to win the green jacket and obviously finish that career Grand Slam, that obviously Harry Diamond was getting a bit of flack, which again, I know nothing, but I felt that was quite uncalled for because he's done a lot of good for Rory. He's obviously his friend. He must know what he's doing. We even saw some signs before Tommy finally got his hands on a PGA Tour win that Finno was getting a little bit of flack from some parts of the media. Do you feel that is uncalled for?
Yeah, it's uncalled for. Listen, at the end of the day, we all know if it's left or right, it's the coach's fault. If it's long or short, it's the caddy's fault. End of. It's never the player's fault.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've always defended Harry. I think he's got a lot of unnecessarily abuse as such, really. Harry's a +2 golfer. He's a good player. He's been Rory's best mate since he was 8 years old. He respects him. He won't be scared to tell him what he thinks, and he's a good caddy. There's certainly, you can think of 2 or 3 instances, well, he should have done that, he should have done that, but Rory's his own boss in a way, and Rory will do what he wants to do at the end of the day. He's always been a positive player and going for things, but that's not Harry's fault. Harry does a really good job.
Do you think, with what you said, which I didn't realise until earlier in this conversation about how much caddying has changed, obviously back 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, whatever, you had to have so many more skills than whereas now it can be a little bit more prescribed as yardage books. Do you think there will be more of this a surge of friends becoming caddies, or like obviously Lee Westwood's had his wife on quite famously? Is that something that's more possible now, do you think, than maybe it would have been 20 years ago?
100%. I mean, like I said, back in the day, getting the string out and drawing your own yardage book, you relied heavily on your caddy.
Yeah.
You were the rally driver's navigator. I mean, they had to listen to everything you'd done because you'd done the homework. So a caddy brought so much more value 20, 30, 40 years ago. But now, you rock up. I could turn up at a golf tournament tomorrow, get the yardage book. I mean, the yardage book is incredible. I mean, it shows you pictures, runouts, elevation changes.
What TV tower to aim at.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I could turn up at a golf tournament and not really have to walk the golf course, and I could caddy blind, basically.
You've got a sat nav in your pocket, basically.
Hence, and obviously on certain tours, and I think it's only a matter of time for the PGA Tour, you'll be able to allow to use lasers because you can use it on Ladies Tour and Live Tour and Asian Tour, I think. So it's only a matter of time for you to use the laser, and you've got all this information that's bulletproof. So all of a sudden the caddy is not as important as it used to be, because hence you're seeing more mates, relatives, brothers, wives.
In a different way, though. Like, it's not as important maybe the numbers-wise, but maybe having that calming word, like you said, talking about things in between shots, a bit more humorous, knowing, obviously, your player as well. It must have a different level of importance, I guess.
I don't know so much, if you're talking to, it's like if Wes is talking to Ellen, they'll talk about what they're having for tea tonight, or what do you think of these nails, or whatever. It don't matter, does it? You can talk about anything, and it might be a brother, and you talk about certain things. Just because it's your caddy, you're still going to talk, whatever you're going to talk about. It's down to making that big decision at that time. I always remember Tom Watson saying, you win tournaments by limiting your mistakes, not by the glory shot or the glory club. Limit your mistakes. So there is that angle of, over a 12-month period, does that caddy bring that little bit more value, which I would say yes, but over the course of a week, if that player's playing well and he's got all this information, he could have his granny pulling his trolley and he'll win.
Yeah.
With all your experience, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of caddies?
Well, the 2 lads I looked up to when I started was Dave Musgrove, who caddied for Sandy Lyle, and Pete Coleman, who caddied for Bernard Langer. So they would be my 2, these are the daddies, I'll listen to what they say, and you learn off them,
And then 2 more spots.
2 more spots. Well, I'm a big believer of what makes a good caddy, and the answer is a good player. So I think caddies are overrated. I'd never judge myself as a caddy, and I wouldn't really judge other people. Like, people would probably say Steve Williams was a really positive character, and Steve would be up there for me. But, I think there's a lot of caddies out there that do great jobs that haven't had that luck that somebody else has had. There's certain caddies out there who've worked for top players. I won't say they're particularly good caddies. Wow. There's a lot of laddies down there that never had the opportunity to work for them particular players. So, I think caddies, I never try to rate them, to be quite honest, because you're only as good as your player at the end of the day.
Would you put yourself on your own mount? No.
Absolutely not. No. If somebody else wants to put me, that's all right, but nowhere, never.
What attributes then? Let's say a young listener now is listening and they want to get into caddying. What are the 3 things that you feel like they have to work on and know before they step foot into the caddying world?
Well, there's a lot of things really. First of all, you got to do your job. Treat it seriously. You got to go out there and do your own work. You can't cut corners. You need to be walking that golf course. So if you've walked it and you say, right, going back to like Fitz at the last hole that you were something, right, tee shot 270, 280. You make your game plan and you stick to it. And if, layup areas, where do I need to hit this layup area? Well, it's on that left edge of that TV tower. I need to be 180 yards from this spot here to there on that. You do your own work. So when you get in that situation out there, you're not second guessing yourself.
You've got an answer
so
quick.
You're caddying with 100% conviction. So if the player asks you, where am I hitting this? Where's my layout? Whatever. You can't sort of like flapping through your page. You go, hang on a minute, I'm trying to work it out. And you just say, 180, left edge of that TV tower, it's a 7-iron, perfect, get on with it. And that's how you've got to caddy. You've got to remain humble, you work hard, and be a good timekeeper. But be honest. Got to be honest. Good, bad or ugly. That's why I've had a lot of good jobs, and that's why I've been relieved of a few jobs, because sometimes that honesty probably goes a bit too far, but I won't change a thing I've done. It's just... But you've got to be honest and say what you think.
Is it exhausting? Sounds silly, but carrying that bag for 5 or 6 days and then doing it the next week and the week after must be tiring.
I'll tell you what's tiring, a 43-year stag do I've been on. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's got
world tour.
World tour, yeah. Going backwards and forwards to America, say 25 weeks a year, 28 weeks a year. It's because you come home, you've got to fly out there on a Sunday. This is what people don't say. You think, it's Thursday till Sunday. No, you're flying out the Sunday before to get there for Sunday night. So you're there doing your own work on the Monday. Mm-hmm. Then they might practice Monday afternoon, and then they'll play Tuesday, Wednesday, Pro-Am, and then the tournament. And then you might not be able to fly home because the flight's too early on the Sunday night, so you might have to fly home on the Monday, which you get back home on Tuesday. So they got the jet lag, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you might have to go back again. So it gets tiring, yeah.
And even just the carrying the bag and the amount of steps and stuff, you must know the calories burnt those weeks.
And in America, you play a lot of places that are just so hot. I mean, 100 degrees, and you're walking. You're walking nearly 50 miles a week when you factor in everything. Yeah. And sometimes with 3 or 4 stone on your back. So, yeah, it can get.
Did you ever think about moving to the States?
Never. My favourite. I'll go on the record. Sorry, my friends over there, but I always say my favourite place in America is a departure lounge. Sorry about that, lads, but I'm an home bird.
That was good. That was the honest side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to travel and say you have to lug that bag around, it must be great. It must be hard, and you've done it for 43 years. What would it take now? Okay, your phone starts ringing. Okay,
it's just rung in my pocket, so I'll check see what it is. You never know, do you?
It might be T-Dub. It might be Jesus himself. Your phone starts ringing. Okay, Billy, I'm such a player. I want you to come out full time again for me. What would it take? What is that? What's that magic ingredient that you'd need to see?
I look at the name and it excites me. I see a challenge and I see potential to help him improve to another level. So I sit here going, do you really want to work 30 weeks a year transatlantic? It's a tough one. It'd have to be the right player, I think, for me forced to do that. I'd still like to caddy. Of course I would. The Live Tour's obviously been designed by the Caddies Association. It's everything's paid for. It's 3 rounds. There's music over. It's more relaxed. The last place is $100,000, and you miss a cut over there, you get nothing. It's like the Live Tour's so much more appealing for a caddy. Yeah. You've got to be honest about it.
Do you feel like the caddies there as well? Every caddy I've spoken to, loves it.
They love it. Why wouldn't you?
14 weeks.
You think about right. I'm going to Los Angeles next week, sir. Right, so I'm going to Riviera. Right, so you pay for your flight, you pay for your hotel, you pay for your ride car, pay for your food, pay for your beer, pay for a yardage book,
You pay for a yardage book?
$100 or whatever it is in America, 120 sometimes, yeah.
You pay at a tournament, they make you pay for a yardage
certain
book?
tournaments, like signature events, I think they give them away for nothing, but most normal PGA Tour event, it's $100 or whatever.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah. And then the greens book were 150. So you're into 250 then.
Oh my goodness.
So, but you go, and then you caddy and miss the cut on it, top 65 qualifying ties. If you're outside that, 156 players.
You literally make zero.
Well, you lose money, won't you? Because you're paying your own expenses.
Like you wouldn't. So if a player missed the cut, you literally
you'd lose money.
You earn zero.
Zero. Well, no, you get a weekly salary for that tournament, but that don't really cover your expenses.
Wow.
And then you've worked all week, you miss a cut, so you get note. So let's flip it to the live tour, where your flights are paid for, your hotel's paid for. You eat with the players because you're not treated like a rat tied outside clubhouse, which I've most of my career. You weren't allowed in the clubhouse or the locker room. And then it's 3 rounds, and everything's paid for. And then last place money, or 50th place, is $100,000, and there's 54 players. So, yeah, from a Caddy's point of view, you can see where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I
so, so get me a job on Live. I'm ready.
When Rick turns pro on Live. What? Seriously, these players who are playing like DP World Tour, who are kind of floating with keeping the card or not, their caddies in particular must be struggling. That must be a hard life for those guys who they are missing cuts. Even when they make a cut, the player might be winning €10,000 or something. They're getting 5% of that or whatever. That must be hard.
I had 15 years out there where it were a lot harder, so it's not that hard. Listen, the conditions, the way of everything of changing these days it's a massive change. Yeah, listen, they won't be making much money, that is for sure, but it's not as hard as it used to be. I mean, I was sat in a lounge in America 6 months ago, and one of the caddies came in. It's like, bearing in mind, I've slept in bushes and tents and hovels where rats had run out, and you're on trains for 2 days and buses overnight getting to the next tournaments. It was tough, but I won't swap it for the world. Great education. But I'm in the locker room in America all the week, and one at Caddies goes, says I flew in on my player's private jet last night, and seat didn't recline fully flat, but I went 3/4 way back, and there were no Wi-Fi on it. I'm like, oi, shut it. And he knew where I was coming from, whoever it was. You know, yeah, you can't say his name, but
you're allowed to.
He went, say, Billy, I'm sorry. I said, get a grip of yourself, will you?
Yeah, you've been there, done that, but he slept in the bush. Jeez, that's wild. Yeah. Is there any, before we finish the podcast, is there any other wild stories you can share with us? Is there anything else that you feel we've not tapped into on the podcast that I don't want you to walk out of here and go, oh, didn't tell you that story?
Well, there's thousands. I mean, you need to give me a subject.
Ryder Cup.
Seve Bust-Up, 1987 Ryder Cup, playing with a young kid by the name of Jose Maria Olazabal. So Seve sat in the locker room. They're playing Curtis Strange and Tom Kite, who, let's just say, Seve want fans of. So as soon as them spikes go on and that European logo goes on his breast, and last but not least, that European muzzle, frothing like a demented Rottweiler, frothing at the mouth going to the first tee. So he gets Jose, puts his arm around Jose. He said, Jose, you listen to me, eh? You're the finest champion in Europe, the Rookie of the Year, and you will win many major championships. But today, I just want you to concentrate on your game, eh? And I will take care of this son of my Jose's like, right, okay. Jose's first ever all in a Ryder Cup. So they all tee off. Jose hits it on the green about 40 feet. The two Americans hit on the green 30 feet. So Seve goes to the back left flag, pulls it left of the green. Losing the head, biting his grips. So then he realised he's put Jose under pressure. First ever on the Ryder Cup. He's thinking, Jose, come here, listen to me, eh? So puts his arm around him and says, when we get to the green, he says, you put first, and then maybe you make the 4, and then I go for the chip in, eh? Jose's like, what? No, you put first, eh? So Jose puts up 40 feet, hits it 3 foot past. And he marks it, starts walking away, and Seve's like, hey, Jose, I told you you finished the putt, eh? So, sorry, I forgot. So he goes to put it back down. Curtis, back, Jose, please, we don't want you to finish, because if me and Tom put past the hole, could finish in your footprints. Okay, so Jose marks his ball, picks it back up. Now he's doing a bit of a
He doesn't know what to do.
He's doing a bit of a Keegan Bradley, don't know. He's coming and going like, you know, hey, Jose, what's going on over there, eh? He says, well, Curtis don't want me to finish because I could be stood in his line. Oh, don't worry, I'll chip in anyway. So he goes back down the hill. It's this flop shot, lands just on the green, trickles down, bingo, chips in. So he comes up, picks Jose's marker up, slams it in his hand. See, I tell you, when he walks 15 yards across the green to Curtis says, right in his face, any problems now, Curtis? It's like, that's Jose's first ever holding the Ryder Cup. He's like, what is going on here?
Oh,
mad.
Gosh.
Yeah. That's Seve for you.
Oh, that's unreal.
Wow. What
about inspirational speeches? What has there ever been like when you've been in the locker room? And I know there's probably been plenty, but you've gone, oh my God, that's got us all fired up.
The best speech I ever heard was 2008 Ryder Cup at Valhalla. All right, we got beat, but Nick had got up. Nick Valdo got up, said a speech, and sat down. I was just like, and I was sat next to Jose. So I'm kicking Jose at the side. I said, get up. What? I said, get up. Say something. We can't finish on that. Get up. Billy, I'm not the captain. I can't go. I said, get up. Kicked him again. So he got up. And they gave 15 minutes, the most passionate speech.
Just off the cuff?
Off the cuff you've ever heard in your life.
Wow.
I think 6 players were crying. It was incredible. All right, they went out the next day and they still got beat, but it was one of those surreal moments. You're going, wow, what a legend you are. Yeah.
Seve aside, who else has that tenacity, that European tenacity when it comes to Ryder Cup?
Well, Jose definitely had it. Modern day players. Shane's got it, hasn't he? Shane loves it. I think Rory's got it. Yeah, I think everybody wants it, but the first
that real dog in him, like Poulter.
Yeah, Poulter were fantastic. He was great, Poulter. I'll tell you a story about Poulter, and this describes him. This describes Poulter to a T. He's not wired right, and if you're watching, you know it. He's not wired right, and this is a true story. Birkdale, 2008, Open Championship. Were you there?
I wasn't there. No. When Justin Rose.
No,
that was early.
No, that was 90s.
Oh, sorry, that was 1998. Sorry, yeah, 2008. Sorry.
2008. So Poulter's on the last hole of the tournament, 15-foot putt for par. He's tied for the lead with Harrington. But Harrington's got several holes to play, and it's blowing 50 miles an hour. It's borderline unplayable. So Poulter thinks this is it. It's his big moment. He's there with his bloody Union Jack trousers on, no doubt. He's got Teddy, funniest caddy on tour, back of the green. So he's got this 15-foot for par, and he's looked to the back of the green. Oi, Tell, come here. Teddy's having a fag at the back of the green. He's like, I don't believe it. He ain't asked me to read one putt in 71 holes. Now he's got this. I'm coming, Pulse. And as he's walking in, Poulter sees him coming in out of the corner of his eye. He says, stop there, Teddy. Teddy goes, what? Bearing in mind, this is the biggest putt of Poulter's career.
Scene from
it's true story. True story. So he says, Tell. He says, you remember when you were like 12 or 13 years old as a junior, and you're on the putting green outside the clubhouse back at your home golf club with your little shorts on, and you're saying to yourself, this is for the Open. This is for the Open, to yourself as you're putting. Teddy's gone, yeah, we've all done that. He said, well, yeah, this is for the Open now, piss off, and he rolled it straight in. Now that is not wired right, but that's how he works.
What the hell?
The self-belief of that man was incredible, and he played seven Ryder Cups. He never lost a singles, did he?
Oh,
incredible. He'd be on my team sheet of the all-time Ryder Cup players for sure.
Wow.
Do you think it's a bit of a travesty that some of these guys might not be Ryder Cup captains?
You know the amazing thing, I always got asked, out of all the Ryder Cups I've ever done, who were your best captain? And I would have said Paul McGinley. Until now. Luke Donald, what he's done the last 2 Ryder Cups. You see it firsthand, you listen to what he's got to say, he has team meetings with everybody, he leaves no stone unturned, his stats are off the charts. Brilliant. He'd have never have been a Ryder Cup captain.
No, he wouldn't have been.
Because Westwood had done it in Rome.
Well, it was
Poulter had done this one.
It was Henrik Stenson.
Stenson had never got it. He got it by default because Westy pulled out because they were banned.
Yeah.
So Stenson wouldn't have been one. And Luke would never have been one because it'd been Westwood. Then you'd gone Poulter with this one. You'd probably G-Mac in Ireland, and then Sergio Garcia would have been Hazeltine next one. So Luke would have been bypassed. Then obviously Stenson got it, and he got banned. So Luke fell through trapdoor to get the job, really. And now he's going to go down as our best ever Ryder Cup captain. Amazing.
Do you think he'll go again in 2 years?
Well, he hasn't said no, which suggests to me, and there's no natural leader. It's funnily enough on the Sunday night in New York there. I had a chat with Rosie outside the players' room. I said, and we started talking about the next captain. I said, well, we know the next captain is, don't we, Justin?
It'd be him.
You're obviously front runner, like, but I said, Honor, you can decide if you still want to play. If he's going to be 47, is his game still going to be good enough? You'd have to say maybe it will be. So he might not take the chance, which I think if he wanted it, I think he'd get it. But Luke hasn't ruled himself out to me, which suggests he'll do it again.
Do you think it'll be Tiger for the USA team?
I'm sure he'll do it at some stage. Depends where he wants to do it. But obviously, he's big friends with JP McManus, so yeah, he could well be.
So, again, going back to that question, do you think there is going to be a time where we get Westwood as a captain, Poulter as a captain, or do you think it's gone?
I think it might have gone for the sole reason that, by the time they would get it, they might be in the late 50s, then you're not in touch with the young players anymore. I can see it sliding past them, unfortunately, and they would have been great captains.
I think, yeah.
I'd like to see him still involved now, and if not a captain, why not have him as a vice captain?
Yeah.
You can choose who you want, but it might go past him. I hope it don't, but you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I feel like we've got such a strong method at the moment with our captaincy, with Luke and the Molinari brothers and Thomas Bjorn there. It's like, it feels like why would you break that up? Like, if this was a football team, you wouldn't break it up.
No.
Like, if this was a football management and we've just done so good, you'd keep it on as much as you could, really. But it's not the tradition. It's not what's happened in the past.
Like you say, you don't break up a winning formula, do you? So keep it going. If they want to do it, keep it going.
Well, Billy, you've been amazing with your time. Some incredible stories.
Pleasure, mate.
Hoping to see you on a live bag next year, hopefully.
I'm open to offers for anything, mate. Might come on tour with you.
Yeah, I do. You've been honestly so amazing with your time.
Absolutely.
So many great stories. Guys, be sure to check out Billy on all of his social media. We'll put all links down below. I know you are very much a favourite after dinner speaker as well.
Am I not getting paid for this?
Yeah, of course. Just invoice us. It's at Mickey Mouse Towers. No, you're an amazing after dinner speaker as well. So I'm sure many people around the UK will get to hear some of these stories live as well over the next few months. You still do?
Yeah, I'm still doing a few, yeah.
Much as you can. Guys, thanks so much. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Billy, amazing with your time. And some of those stories will literally go down in history.
Thanks, fellas.
Pleasure
to be here. Thank you.